Alright, so this is James. I was really hoping it's going to be James Baxter again. I was so hoping, but we got someone just as good. I was so happy that we got this character instead.
By the way, I just want to state this really quickly before we go any further. This is like the one episode where he laughed, I think, like, once, and that was it. Like...
Yeah,
it was surprisingly quiet.
Yeah, you just came in, it's just like, wow, you're like really, really quiet in this one. I'm like, I mean, okay, well, let's get the episode here. So they're going around Peebles, Finn, Jake, and a character named James who, I don't know what he was. Was he like ice cream sandwich or something?
That's what I thought.
Something like that. Or maybe one of those wafers. Like those little wafers that have a little cream in it or whatever. I never know what they're called, but like vanilla wafers or something.
Those were good. No, not vanilla wafers. But no, I know what you're talking about. Those are good.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, some piece of candy named James is piloting this ship, or helping pilot this ship, that's going over this area that looks like desert. And I guess she was looking to, what was she looking to do with it again? Just sort of like... bring people there or something?
I thought it was like almost like terraform, if I remember right.
Yeah, something like that. And sure enough, all these jelly donut zombies come back, like the ones that chased Simon and Marcy. And she seemed to know what they were, too. She was totally, a creature from a long time ago. So,
from a different time.
Yeah, so she knows what they are. Yeah, so they're trying to get inside this ship, and they're all pretty annoyed with James because he's intentionally an annoying character. And when and all these things seem to keep going wrong, like the circuits are cut, and the flares are being shut off, and stuff that they're just saying, what the hell, James? Because they keep thinking he's doing it because he's just so kind of dim-witted and annoying and such, and just slowing everything down. So finally they figure there's only one way to get out of there, and that's whoever's the biggest has to be eaten so that they can get out. Finn volunteers, but then Peebles knocks him out, knocks Jake out, pretty much convinces James to go and do it. And that's exactly what happens, and he gets pretty much eaten alive, and Peebles runs them all out and says, Finn, you couldn't have done it because I can clone James, he's candy, I can do that, I can't clone you. And they have both a funeral and a welcoming back of James. Finn says, I have no idea if this is a good thing or a bad thing. And it turns also that she was one that sabotaged all the plans because she knew none of them would work, and that her calculation said this is the only one that would work, and that's what they had to do. So they don't know how to feel, and then we see Zombie James, climb out of the pit, and a whole bunch of zombies go with him. Yikes. I don't know. Well, first of all, I really did not laugh that much. I'm really trying to think. I think I laughed at, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because that's kind of what you're thinking throughout this ending, too. The whole thing. I love the opening. I love Finn coming in with a suit, bandages on his head, going up to Jake, who's just sobbing over something that happened, and he's in a suit too. It's probably a funeral and everything, and then, Peebles is there in front of all the people saying, I'm so glad you've all come here today, and then it cuts to showing what happens. Like, that's a great lead-in, because you're like, what is going on?
Well, I did like that when Finn's like, oh, it's okay, put on a normal face. He's like, kind of like this. And I love how his face doesn't actually change at all. And he's like...
And then Jake is like...
yeah. And it's like, don't worry, everything's like, it's okay, I'm okay. Just give me a few months.
Yeah. So... I don't know. Well, okay, the first thing that always pops in my head is that, and this is part of the problem with the fact that Jake can turn into anything, is he can turn into anything! He could get everybody out of that so easily and stuff, and this is a situation where that really does bother me, especially when Peebles does, all the calculations and stuff. It's like, bull crap, you have a guy who can change into anything, but...
Sorry, didn't quite catch that?
just, you got it. It's just, okay, it's... I don't know if it's a nitpick or what, because there's a ton of times where it's like Jake could have saved the day and they don't address it or use it, but That's just sort of the limitations or liberties of the show, I guess.
If they made it where he's worn out or he's been injured or
Yeah, but they don't do that.
I never actually thought about it. But now that you say it, it's like, yeah, it's actually a really good point. I mean, he could have easily just gotten out of there, yeah.
I really don't get the idea of people sabotaging everything because she calculated that won't work. Why doesn't she just explain why or say the calculations why? Well, the time it takes for her to sabotage the plan, she could have explained why the plan wouldn't work. And... again, there's always sort of this thing. Jory would hate this episode. Like, she would hate people's, there would be no coming back from this one, I think. Like, every once in a while there's an episode where she's like, okay, she wasn't that bad, or maybe, she has a point here or something, but it's like, no, I don't know if she would recover from this much. She's not home right now, that's why. Or, I mean, her... liquidy corpse.
Don't, no.
Yeah, okay.
People aren't liking that at all.
No, okay.
Nah, well, it's a good 50-50 split. Some are like, stop it, it's no longer funny, just stop.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh wait, or maybe oh fuck it, I don't care. So, yeah, and I don't know, it's, like, if the plans won't work, that's fine. The whole idea of sabotaging them, I don't get. It seemed more like just to throw people for a loop or to make James look like he didn't know what he was doing when really he was okay, quote-unquote okay, whatever. And, okay, when you're gonna have a character, like, people do something that is so cruel, by having this guy run out and get killed, even if she is gonna make another one, but it is just so cruel, and it's such a harsh ending. It's a really harsh way of showing it, too. Finn sort of opening his eyes, seeing a little bit, and just out the corner of his eyes, seeing him get eaten alive and stuff. I think you have to be sure your bases are covered, and that this really is the only way. That's my problem with the ending of, X-Men 2. There's a character that gets killed off. It's like, it's the only way. I'm like, there's 20 other ways out of this, god damn it.
Who got killed? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I won't give it up, but most people know.
The new X-Men movie?
The X-Men 2. Came out 2000, early...
I think everyone's seen it, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, but okay, then I don't have to say who it is.
I don't know.
Well, you saw it, so that's your own fault. But anyway... there's a million ways out of this scenario where it's like they just wanted to kill this character off to lead to something else. That's what this felt like. They just wanted to kill this character off to either get another storyline going or make a point that sometimes you have to make these really hard choices where people have to die or whatever and you don't know if they're the right choice. I just felt that could have been done a lot better. Just a scenario that really made... for a Candy Kingdom more sense.
Yeah.
Within the boundaries and limitations or lack thereof, in this case, of this world, a situation that made more sense. Because, me, I'm all for going dark. I'm fine with going really dark, but it has to make sense and it has to connect together. If you're going to go this dark and really kind of mean, because they make the character not very likable. He's not a jerk, but he's clearly annoying, and all the characters are very annoyed by him. I don't know, you really have to be in tune with this is the only way to do it, and it just seemed like there's a bunch of other ways.
It's the only way.
Yeah, I don't know. I lean towards not liking it, because I felt it could have been woven together much better. Even for something I don't know... I don't even know if it's really that necessary to dabble with. Maybe it is. I don't know, because I guess I've seen stuff like this, in Batman, Avatar, and stuff, where a character dies and there's sort of no other way around it, and the tragedy of it. Sometimes tragedies just happen. But yeah, this one would just seem especially cruel by having Peebles be the one that not only did she knock Finn out. And he has to watch a friend or whatever get axed off. But, she's one of the main characters, one of the likable main characters, and, she's really... that is just so harsh, and that is such a harsh thing to do. So, I don't know, I think I see what they were trying to do, but I felt to tackle something like this, you really have to, like I said, have all your bases covered. I didn't feel like they did.
No, I agree. Like, something simple as, Jake's like, oh, don't worry, I'll just grab you all and we'll stretch out of here. And if PB's like, you can't do that, if that, like, acidic crap touches you, it will kill you. Something along those lines where it's like, no, you can't do this because even a droplet of that touching you will kill you. Boom! That gets rid of him stretching. His stretching ability will help.
I don't know, I was even saying, like, he could stretch himself into the ship, into all the gears and move the ship. I mean, it's like, because they've done so much of this stuff before. Even with the Jake suit, it's like, as soon as you have the Jake suit and Jake, moving Finn around and stuff, to me, it's like, all bets are off. You can do whatever you want with Jake. Jake solves every problem. If you can't use him, to me, it has to be more of like in the episode before where he sucks the blood out and stuff and he's not active.
Well, don't forget about him with the, thing in his tooth. He had the nacho in his tooth.
That's right. Or like when he has to stretch so far, there's only so far he can stretch through the maze and stuff. I mean, it's like, they're usually very good at that.
But this is, like I said, they didn't even give it that. All I had to do was say if that stuff touches you, you could die.
Yeah, there's some way they could have
put
it in there, yeah.
I think the whole reason why Peebles was sabotaging everything was to make them dislike James. If they didn't like James and they didn't trust James, him being killed off wouldn't be as heartbreaking or hard to deal with.
But it still was, and even then she knocks him out. I mean, it's like, why wasn't that choice number one? Just knock them out and then talk to James about it.
Then we wouldn't have an episode.
That's the problem, though. We shouldn't be thinking of there being an episode. It should just, come together much more naturally.
I think that's what the whole point was, and she started kind of it wasn't working so well. So, I mean, that's my guess of why she was sabotaging and making James look bad. I could be completely wrong and I can be completely off base here, but it just seems logical that, if you're going to have to get rid of someone, you might as well start disliking them. So therefore the disconnect isn't... Plus, remember, they just met him for the first time.
It makes about as much sense as any of the other stuff that doesn't make sense that we've talked about, my opinion.
I understand, and I won't argue that.
But I will say this, I think where they were trying to go with this episode, and actually I don't think it's a bad area necessarily to go, is that a lot of times you'll come across somebody that, like, you won't get along with, or you'll find them annoying or whatever, and that, knock it off, knock it off. And eventually... A lot of times with these people...
You'll have to sacrifice them to some strange gooey demons.
Okay, it happened once. Okay, I want you to let that go.
You bring it up, man.
But where you'll find something where it's like... It's something either really valuable, really useful, or really incredible about a person that you never thought would come from that person. And I believe every person, even like the worst person, can have something like wonderful and valuable to offer. It's just finding out where to look, and hell, maybe like in their lifetime we may never see it, or they may never get to it, but I think it's in there, and that's, I think, what this episode's trying to do, and I think that's a valid point, but like I said, I just didn't think it was executed that well. You just think people are bred for the slaughter.
Yes. I don't like people, and...
It's very Kubrick.
I don't like Kubrick either. I think he's a pompous ass who everyone thinks is so great, and his movies are just...
I guess his whole thing was like, the more you read up on me, it's just like he really didn't like humanity, and he was kind of like, computers should take over. Computers are so much better, and they don't get emotional. It just makes more sense and stuff, but it's like, but he's a person!
I can't let you do that, Dave.
So, it actually really makes sense. Hal was probably the hero in 2001, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's possibly a good message in there trying to get out, and it's trying to be delivered in this very uncomfortable, disturbing way, which I'm not against. It just has to, if you're gonna do that, you just have to be ready, and stuff has to be explained, and it has to be really solid. I think there's just a lot of stuff in here that did not come together in order for that to work.
Well, what I would have liked better, and I mean, I agree with you for the most part on all of it, but no, towards the end, where Finn is kind of like waking up from his unconsciousness and all, or being unconscious, they should not have shown him giving her the chunk of himself right away. It should have been them kind of talking, them being dragged out, all of that stuff. She doesn't even say about the cloning. It jumps back to the funeral. And they're dealing with the funeral, and out comes James, and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Then it cuts back to her taking the chunk and telling him, I can clone him, I can't clone you.
That would be a little bit... Yeah, that would be better, because then you wouldn't see it coming, and it would make the funeral even sadder.
Exactly.
And even darker until you see that, but even then it's like, wait, is this good? Is this...
I felt by them showing right away him giving that, and then all that, it's like, oh, duh, I know exactly what's going to happen, I don't really care now. You know, James being annoying or not, it was one of those things, just kind of like, it took away any impact. I'll be back, though. I've got more important things to do, yo.
Oh, he's got a call. So, I guess I'll end this one real fast.